What's happening, everybody? JayShockblast here, and check it out. We got ourselves another top 10 video, and today we have a little bit of a co-star. My brother Eric is has been up from Florida for the last week and a half or so, and he's gonna leave tomorrow. But before he leaves, we're gonna go ahead and bust out a video or two, and yeah, say hi.
Hey guys, how's it going?
All right, so. Eric is, I think he knows more about comics, much more about comics than I do.
That is a fact.
I'm not afraid to admit that. I've learned a lot about comics through him, and I wish he was around more because I would definitely make him make videos with me more often. So what we've done is we've done a quick little skim of all the characters in Marvel Superheroes 2, Lego Marvel Superheroes 2, and I've asked him to pick his top 10 favorite characters in the game. I got him this game for Christmas, and he'll play it more on his own when he gets home to Florida, but what do you think of the list here so far?
It was kind of hard to put the list together. Based off from the last game, the last game had all the X-Men characters, and like I said before we made the video, I'm probably more X-Men heavy than anything from the comics, but there were plenty of characters for me to choose from out of this game. A lot of, and you know, and just as anybody else knows, I am a big fan of villains. I love the bad guys.
That's true. So we've got two little runners up here. What do you want to say about Daredevil and Stingray?
I actually became a fan of Daredevil recently, mainly through the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. I was never a huge Daredevil fan, but I started reading a lot of the like epic stories that people tell you, the essential reading, so to say, and I really did become a big fan of Daredevil. And it doesn't hurt to have a really good Netflix show based it off of. So I you know what? Everybody hates on it, but I did like Affleck as Daredevil as well. It's not that bad of a movie as everybody says.
President Bear,
but you know, to each their own with their
stole my cactus.
opinions.
Oh.
So we've also got Stingray here. He almost made the list. He was like a last second, like we took him off the list at the last second. I was kind of like, I don't know why I was surprised. I knew you liked Stingray, but I was kind of surprised. Tell me why Stingray.
You know, as a kid, going through all the trading cards and the comic books, I just remember looking at Stingray and I'm like, this is a really cool looking character. It kind of felt odd for somebody to have a cape and to be able to go underwater. Then I realized it was actually kind of like manta ray wings.
Oh yeah,
in a sense, to help him you know, glide through.
Or one would say a stingray.
Or a stingray.
Ha!
But I mean, I don't know why. I just like the design of the costume, and a lot of times I have based my likes of a character just off the costume alone, and then I do my research and then grow to love the character. So, and for some reason, Stingray is just one of those guys that I absolutely love.
So he got cut from the list, and the character we cut him from the list for was none other than Hawkeye.
Which I completely forgot was in this game.
So why Hawkeye? What do you love about Hawkeye? I know you've been a huge Hawkeye fan for a long time.
It goes back to my love for old Robin Hood, you know, stories.
Like Kevin Costner Robin Hood.
Dude, that has a great song, that movie. But I've always liked archers and you know, that aspect. And I mean, I like Green Arrow.
Right, I was gonna say you're in DC Comics. You're a huge Green Arrow fan.
I am a huge Green Arrow fan.
Yeah, but this is before the you like the TV show, but this is going way back.
Oh yeah, like I was a Green Arrow fan way before the TV show came out.
Dude, you were a Justin Hartley level Green level.
I
Green
did.
Arrow fan.
I thought, you know what? I still think Justin Hartley is a really good Green Arrow.
Yeah, I agree.
Because anyways, not to get too far off topic, but Hawkeye is the equivalent of Green Arrow, and it doesn't hurt that, you know, I mean, purple's a cool color. He's like, you can actually rock it. And again, it was one of those things where I liked his costume, and it like had a little bit of like Wolverine mixed in. So Hawkeye, and then of course, you know, he became a badass character. He's very sarcastic and funny, and actually, I don't know if you read, but apparently he's gone deaf.
Really?
He has a hearing problem, so that kind of makes it even better for me.
Yeah, because you are deaf in one ear.
I am deaf in one ear, well, and I have a hearing loss in the other. So it's kind of like it would be like me as a character. But I think this has only been recently in the comics where something happened, and I think his eardrums bursted. Something, and he had to have the reconstruction. I don't know. I kind of off and on. Just because I know a lot. There's a lot of recent stuff I haven't read. I'm like back behind because of work.
All right, so that was number 10. At number 9, I was a little surprised by this too. I don't know why, but I definitely was. Spider-Man 2099 was your number 9, and why did you pick Spider-Man 2099?
Well, altogether, I'm a big Spider-Man fan.
One possible.
I've always been a fan of Spider-Man since we were kids. I remember you were the one that actually got me into comic books.
Which is kind of weird when you think about it, because you ended up being the big comic book reader over me.
Well, you were, if I remember correctly, you got into the comics, but you were also huge into sports.
Yeah.
So you really went more into sports, and plus, like I said, you're 5 years older than me. The tastes that you were into changed as you went along. So I inherited all your comics, and I remember you had a ton of Spider-Man comics, and I just became a fan of him. But again, the badass costume. It was actually he was slightly different than Peter Parker Spider-Man. He does have some additional powers. Like I think he has a little bit more spider in him. So that makes it a little bit cooler. Plus, the whole 2099 universe was just kind of a cool concept to have. And I just, again, reading more into him, I became more of a fan. I actually dug the last couple series they did, and when they changed his costume to white and red, it just looked even more badass.
Now, what do you think of the Spider-Verse in general? Like, what do you think about having like 5,000 million Spider-Men?
It's the same as having 5,000 million Batmans. You know, you think about it, like Batman has different versions. You know, and then it comes with having multiverses.
Yeah, but what do you think of the whole multiverse thing in general? Like, I think like having a million Batman is just as dumb as a million Spider-Man.
It's true, but it's kind of cool to see where you can go with some of the creativity. Like, you know, I like the idea of going into another world and having a Wild West Spider-Man. You know, like how could he have existed back in those days? And but have it not impact the main storyline. Like, basically, Spider-Man has existed. It's like a mantle that's been passed down from generation to generation. I like the fact that it's a different universe, and they can do whatever they want with it without it impacting the main character.
Very good, very good. So, that was number 9. At number 8, this one actually really surprised me, because you're picking them based off your likes of certain characters, and not necessarily how they are in the game. You picked Man-Thing at number 8.
He's actually a pretty important character. If you really think about it, he's actually a gateway to different dimensions. He could open up a portal anywhere, and he is actually what I like about it is you can do so much with him without having him talk, because he's kind of like Swamp Thing without actually being Swamp Thing. And what I like about it is like everything burns at the touch of ManThing. Basically, if you are afraid of him, you're gonna be caught on fire.
Huh.
Like he senses fear, and you will like burn. So he's kind of like he's actually an important character, but nobody utilizes him very well. And I actually have a 5-part miniseries of that R.L. Stine wrote the past year, which, if you know me, I was a huge Goosebumps fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to reading what his take on ManThing is, because ManThing is a horror character, and I do like horror themed characters as well.
Yeah. So there we go. That was number 8. We had ManThing, and now the villains are starting to come into play here. I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised by this, but I was. You picked Shocker at number 7.
It's kind of shocking, isn't it?
It is shocking.
I don't know why. It was, like I said, growing up reading Spider-Man comics, I just like the different, like all the, like, each character is a unique color, like a single unique color. I think that goes back to just the way that it was printed back in the day. And I don't know why, it's just one of those cool looking suits he had. I remember having the old original action figure back in the day, where one arm you could move like up and down, and you could bend him at the elbow, and the other one just stuck straight out, and you had a little projectile. That is not the Shocker I like. I mean, I understand why they changed him. I can care less about that.
What did you think of the way they wrote it in, though? Like,
to be honest, he's always been like a C-level character.
Right.
He's kind of a quickly discarded character in the universe. And I understand that. So, but it's kind of cool to have him as a supporting character for the main villain in the movie, which is kind of where he is in the comics. He's not big level. He's not A level.
Right, but this Shocker wasn't even like the first Shocker in that movie, though. That's
technically no, but he does have the name, which is Herman Schultz.
Yeah, I thought they should have Bokeem Woodbine should have just had a different name, and Herman Schultz should have been the first Shocker.
But then I would have been a little pissed.
Well, if they did that, though, that would have been perfect, though, because it would have explained the difference and why this was Herman Schultz, which, I mean, it's a German name, you know. But whatever.
What are you saying? Germans can't be black?
I mean, they can, but I mean, typically they're not named
and Jewish.
Schultz. Yeah, you know. I mean, so.
And again, it was one of those things. I love the costume. It's weird. I liked it.
I guess my point is, if the guy that was the Shocker first in the movie, if he had been Herman Schultz, and they just killed him off, and Bokeem Woodbine's character had a different name and he became the Shocker, I wouldn't even ask any questions. I wouldn't even ever mention anything, because it would have been perfect, because you kind of gave a nod to the original Shocker, and you passed the mantle, if you will, and in that case it absolutely would have been a mantle. So I don't know, that's just kind of the way I've always looked at it personally. It's not like the end of the world. I mean,
yeah.
I don't get like too pissed anymore.
I've learned to just go with the flow with these movies.
Yeah, I mean, I just want it to at least make sense, you know?
Whatever. Like I said, there's certain characters, like we've had this discussion plenty of times in previous videos and off camera, off microphone, but at some point, like, certain characters you can change in the movies and it's like whatever, but there's certain ones that you shouldn't change.
Yeah, and Shocker's just not.
Shocker's not that important.
Yeah.
But I like the way he is.
So number 6 on our list. This one did not surprise me. We got Hobgoblin.
Like I said, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I love the Goblins. If he was in the game, I would have chosen Demo Goblin over Hobgoblin, but it's not that well. But I mean, I don't know why. It's the costume. I like that he's got a glider, and he's just kind of a cool character.
I feel like Hobgoblin became kind of a big deal in the Spider-Man universe right around the time that I started kind of getting into comics. Like, he was kind of like coming out around that time, like in the early like late 80s, early 90s.
He would there's so many versions of Hobgoblin.
Sure.
And that's actually one of those mantles that gets passed around, kind of like Green Goblin.
Sure.
But
he had like a big resurgence.
he did. He was created in the early 80s, I believe.
Right.
There's that fantastic cover of orange hooded. You don't see you just see black and red eyes.
Where am I
of
going?
Hooded character ripping Spider-Man's costume in half.
Yeah.
That was Hobgoblin's like first cover appearance, and it's actually at the comic store. I really want to get it, but I don't know if I want to drop $300. This is why I need to invent time travel so I can go back and buy it for like $1.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, he's just one of those characters I liked, and what they do with him now, where I think it's the original Hobgoblin, Roderick Kingsley, how he's kind of, he's very smart and he's very tactical. Like he doesn't really do much, and he kind of lends out the costume.
Merchandising.
Like he merchandises. He does merchandise. Like he actually takes like old costumes. He's like, okay, I'm gonna teach you how to use this one, and you can be this new guy. And it's like, oh, there's a new whatever character.
Yeah.
It's just another guy.
So that was number 6. You're really gonna get the Spider-Man vibe kind of the rest of the way, I feel like. Even though some of the characters aren't totally, Spider-Man per se, but they've associated with. This is definitely a Spider-Man style character. Not surprised at all. Number 5, you have Carnage.
Everybody loves like OG Venom, like as far as the symbiotes go, but I love Carnage. He's like the main story. He's the main part of one of my favorite Spider-Man stories ever, Maximum Carnage. It had a Sega video game that was amazing. I remember I've always wanted that game. Like, we had to rent it all the time. But I remember wanting to own it. I wanted the red cartridge. But again, I just love the fact that he's a serial killer. He's very sadistic. He makes his symbiote form weapons.
Right.
And that's what I like. Like I love the fact that I remember the action figure as a kid. He would have like an axe for a hand. Like you could snap the axe on it. And he's like go around killing. He's very
violent,
and I love violence. Even though I'm actually a very non-violent person, but I love watching violence. So that's why I'm into action movies. The bloodier, the better.
What do you think about this Venom movie that's coming out?
I'm intrigued. I'm hoping that Sony, because this is pure Sony, so Marvel really doesn't have much to do with it, because this is Sony running it, and Sony is has been up 50-50 with how they've turned out some of the Spider-Man properties. You got this one, and then you got Silver and Black coming out.
Sure. There's a rumor that Carnage is in the movie.
I'm pretty sure Carnage is in the movie, and the character, and if it is true, the actor they picked for him is going to be the actor that they did a perfect job.
Who is that?
If I remember correctly,
I hear that Demonics is hiring. Too bad.
I'm gonna look up the name right now, but he's actually on the cover of Far Cry
can't be doing them any favors.
3, I think.
Is that the one?
He's like a Spanish guy
with a mohawk.
Yes. If I remember correctly, that is. I'm trying to see if I can find him. Michael Mando.
Okay.
Actually, funny enough, he was Matt Gargan in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He's
going to be Scorpion.
But
yeah.
I thought the rumor was that he was going to be the Carnage.
What about the dude that's basically Joker on Gotham? The redhead kid.
Oh, yes. He actually really does look...
Is that Cameron Monaghan?
Yeah, he really does
See,
look
that's my pick.
The part of Cletus Cassidy, because Cletus Cassidy is a redhead.
Yeah.
And
or the guy that played Rorschach.
He's too old.
Too old
at this point.
All right. Well, we could do this all day. How about number 4 on your list? Shocker. It's the other Goblin, the green one.
Oh, OG Goblin. great color.
Yeah.
I love green, and purple is like probably like a third choice, I guess you could say, maybe a fourth choice, a favorite color. But I mean, again, one of Spider-Man's biggest adversaries. They have different mantles, but everybody loves the OG Norman Osborn. He's very sadistic, very maniacal. Again, I remember there's one Spider-Man comic that I own that I actually got autographed by the artist recently, and it's a silver foil cover of Spider-Man and Goblin fighting, and Goblin is dragging Spider-Man who's tied up, and it's just a fantastic cover. Again, like I said, it's just love what they did, and I honestly thought Willem Dafoe was pretty perfect.
Yeah.
As Norman Osborn. I kind of didn't like the suit from the Spider-Man movie, but he looked like a freaking Power Ranger. But I mean, he was actually a really perfect version of what the Green Goblin is.
You know what's amazing? You are never going to have to know the pain and torment that is the race that you had to do to unlock Green Goblin. It was awful.
You have to unlock him?
Oh yeah, you unlock him right here, this race right here. Okay? And this race used to be atrocious. They patched it. Probably 100% because of my bitching about it on Twitter. I apologize. I should not swear. But yeah. Anyway, so that's number 4. At number 3, I feel like I have some influence here, but I did not tell you to do this. You picked this completely on your own, but he was one of my favorite characters ever.
He is. I mean, I know, like I said, right before we started the recording, you and I do share a lot of favorite characters. It happens. There's you can't just be, one person can only be a fan,
right?
And then they will never get stuff made by him. But again, I actually became a fan of Darkhawk through you as a kid. I remember you had the comics. I remember exactly. It was actually with Venom fighting Darkhawk.
Yeah.
In the early issues, that what I remember reading a lot. And like I said, there's actually a Spider-Man 6-part story called Round Robin that actually features most of my favorite non-X-Men heroes, which is, you got Spider-Man, you got Moon Knight, Darkhawk, Nova, one of your favorites,
yeah.
Night Thrasher, Speedball, and Punisher.
Yeah, that was Nova way before he was one of my favorites, too.
Nova, again, way before when he was kind of like a B-level hero.
Little did I know.
And,
but yeah, obviously this is, I mean, when I say, I didn't influence this, but I did, the influence I had on you loving this character goes back to when 1991, when this was one of my favorite characters, and I always stress that whenever I talk about him, and obviously because of that, you were influenced by it, naturally, you can't help not be, because
exactly.
I was the cool big brother, and
that's pushing it.
So at number 3 we had Darkhawk.
Before we go into number 2, I just want to say I think that what they've done with Darkhawk since is 10 times better than what we were a fan of.
Sure.
I love what they've done with the whole fraternity of Raptors. So it just makes us love them even more.
Sure. So number 2
is Scarlet Spider. It was, like I said, I could have put Spider-Man on the list, but I don't want to be too cliche. But again, he was a different take on Spider-Man, and he was in the main universe. I just love the simple fact: red jumpsuit, blue hoodie. He's got the web gauntlets on his arm. It's just, and I like the fact that he was a clone, and so he had kind of an identity crisis for a while. But I mean, I like the name Scarlet Spider.
Yeah.
And now I know they've done different versions. There's another Scarlet Spider where he's he doesn't have the hoodie part, and he's black and red, and I love that version too.
That's what, Kane?
That's Kane. That was another clone. I love what they've done with that character. I don't know. It's just, but for some reason I've always wanted this, and you see how happy I was when I found him at Toys R Us last year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When we were going through it, I lost my shit. We were at Toys R Us.
Apologies again. we try not to swear. He's not as polished as I am, but I opened that can of worms when I said something. So, yeah, man, I always think whenever I see Scarlet Spider, I think of you. I know that you're like a huge fan, and you know, so Scarlet Spider is number 2. And if you know my brother, number 1 should not remotely be a surprise. And I think I've mentioned it a few times before.
It's Moon Knight. I mean, do I really need to get into why I love this guy?
Well, I mean, not with me, but with everybody else, possibly. As a matter of fact, I would actually think that's the point.
I know. Well, Moon Knight is, in all aspects, a version of. It's just pretty much Marvel's version of Batman, in a sense. He's a crime fighter who's rich. But what and he's got like very similar stuff, like he's got the moon copter or the moon plane, and it's a lot of ripoffs. But what I really like the most about him is that he's schizophrenic, and he's got multiple personality disorder, and there's actually 4 people inside that head of his. You've got, you know, the main version, the mercenary, the guy who's originally. Who became Moon Knight? It was mercenary Mark Spector. When he was left to die in Africa or Egypt or wherever, and he begged the Khonshu to keep him alive. Khonshu is another part. He's the actual Egyptian god of the moon. So he's another voice inside his head, and then of course you've got billionaire.
Look a little off to anybody else? No, just
Stephen Grant, who is where he gets his money from. So he's like the Bruce Wayne of this character. And then you've got Jake Lockley, who is kind of the undercover, like he's a cab driver, and that's where he gets his like undercover informant stuff. Even though it's like it's kind of weird. Like Bruce Wayne has one of those. I can't remember the name right now, but like I remember the cartoon. He put a fake mustache on, and he was a cab driver. And he would go use that identity to find out, you know, information about criminals. And I just think it's funny that Moon Knight has the same thing. But what I like about it is all 4 characters were inside his head fighting for control of, you know, who runs the body.
That's funny.
And plus, he's all look how badass he looks.
At least we still
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely cool. What do you think of Mr. Knight's look? Like,
Mr. Knight's look. Actually, at first I saw it, I'm like, oh, come on. But then I really liked it. I like how he just walks into the room, rolls up his sleeves, and like, all right, let's go. And that's actually, I don't know if you know this, but that's kind of Jake Lockley's version of Moon Knight.
yeah.
I've started to notice that that's what they're doing. That each version of Moon Knight's costume is one of the personalities.
Gotcha.
And Jake Lockley is a very violent persona.
Gotcha. So there you have it, folks. Those are Eric's top 10 favorite characters in LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2. And I thought lots of fascinating storytelling and a lot of really cool reasons for it. I definitely hope everybody enjoyed it. Make sure you guys leave lots of great messages about it, because we got to encourage Eric to do more videos with me, even from Florida, and positive reinforcement is the way to do it. If there could be one character that's not in this game that you could have added right now, who would it be?
Man, it's cold.
Only one.
Well, we already said it. He's not in it. I mean, I know they're bringing a version of him in, but I wanted Nova.
Okay. Yeah.
Rich Rider Nova.
See, I train him well, folks. All right. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Thank you, Eric, for being a part of it. Anything you want to add here at the end?
I hope we can get a patch for X-Men characters.
Haha.
So that makes this whole video moot.
Something must have gone down in the
All right. We'll see ya.
Have a good one.